Welcome everybody to Santa Cruz Works Clinic's Get Virtual, August 26, 2020. I am your host, Doug Erickson, and with me we have Adrian and Matthew. Hey guys, say hello.
Hello, good to be here today.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Fantastic. We are supported by an uncommonly talented, good-looking, spiritually enlightened, brilliant team of people. Names and faces are not enough to give them the credit that they deserve, but for now, that's what we'll have to deal with or have. We're also supported by the generosity of our benevolent sponsors. Thank you to each and every one of them for contributing to the success of our wonderful community, particularly in times like these. Speaking of our community, as we all know, we've been faced after the lightning storms with horrendous fires that are still under 20% contained. So we have global warming to thank for that. We've got social injustice, we have COVID-19, we have a broken democracy that is plaguing us right now. Because of all this, we've created Z-Hacks 2020, and that is the first hackathon that is truly for everyone, meaning that you don't need to be a coder to participate. You can participate in a project focused, if you want to create anything from the arts. You can sculpt something, you can write something, you can dance, you can sing a song, and if you want to communicate to others your interest in your solutions on how to address, again, social injustice, environmental impacts, pandemic. This is the way that you can participate in Z-Hacks. Go to zhacks.devpost.com to find out. I'm going to tell a lot of you how to, if you are participating, how by attending one of these clinics, such as the one today, you can get 1 point towards your project score. I'll tell you about that towards the end here. And we're now ready to get going with Get Virtual. I would ask Toby and his team to activate their video and microphones, and let's get going.
Hey, Doug, hopefully you can hear me. I'm getting an unable to start video.
I think Adrian can help you there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to start out on a little bit of a reflective note before I introduce our team. I'd like to ask everyone just to give a quick moment of silence for all those that have been displaced and affected in our community by the fire. So let's just give it a second here. And we're all just going to wish everyone the great success. Hopefully the fire gets fully contained and pushed out and everyone can move back to their homes and we can go through our rebuilding process, because the human spirit is always incredibly resilient. So on a lighter note, on a happier note, let me just quickly have my team introduce themselves. Let me start with Yulia, then Nikki, and then Aaron. Guys, do a quick intro, throw your cameras on.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Yulia Monastirska, and I'm one of the co-founders of GetVirtual. I started with the original team, the executive board, back in April, and I'm super excited to be here presenting to you guys. Let's do this.
Hi, I'm Nikila Cherikuthota, also a co-founder of GetVirtual, started in May, and super excited to see how we move going forward.
Hi, my name is Aaron Spanner. I'm also a student co-founder at GetVirtual. I apologize for, I got a new computer and it does not have a webcam.
All right, Doug, next slide. I'm going to just do a quick overview of the program. Then I'm really going to turn it over to the students, the folks that did all the heavy lift and all the hard work and build something that I think is going to hopefully change the world for good. So we're going to cover 3 things with the presentation. I'm just going to go over our vision and our mission and why we exist. And then I'm going to turn it over to our super talented UCSC students that not only have excelled here in Santa Cruz, but we're asked to fill some massively huge shoes, take an opportunity and build an entire new structure from scratch. And they just did it all. So I'm going to let them walk you through how everything works, how we're expanding, how we provide value. And then we're offering a $500 cash reward for some help in a few areas. So I'm going to let the team articulate that. So Doug, next slide, please. So let me sort of, for those that don't know me, I've been a long-time entrepreneur. I've been at Tesla and Solar City. And I think the thing I'm most proud of is my 10-year teaching tenure at Stanford University, teaching entrepreneurship in the undergraduate school there. And it's given me the opportunity to connect with Generation Z and become, you know, quite frankly, just enthralled with a generation that is unlike any other. And those that have heard me speak have heard me extol the virtues of Generation Z, but to put it in a word, they're just incredibly altruistic, and they care about bigger, broader things in life. And it's quite a different point of view than prior generations. Many of us have been enlightened, and I think would fall into that category, but as a whole, this is an incredibly very unique generation. I've had the chance to work with students at Stanford. I get to speak at many universities and colleges around the world. And it gives me great hope that despite the challenges that we have that Doug alluded to at the beginning of today's presentation, that this generation is poised to do some incredibly awesome things that I believe will create better opportunities for future generations to come. So let me talk a little bit about the problem that we're trying to solve. I think most of us would feel that society is not on a really good trajectory, and we can pick off so many loads of paradigms that are broken, and problems that we have, you know, sustainability being at the top of the list. You know, we're on a existential crisis right now with climate change and leaving behind an extraordinary mess and cost and human displacement for future generations to come. The way the economy works doesn't work for everyone. Social injustice, criminal reform, voting rights, like the list goes on and on. Despite all of that, and as I said, these structures unfortunately are set up just to benefit very few people. They are set up for the rich to get richer, the rich to accumulate more power, the rich to accumulate more material things in life. Well, human life, quite frankly, is treated as a very disposable cog in a big machine. And I think that the opportunity is so awesome right now for a new generation and some enlightened spirits to step up and put the world on an entirely different trajectory. So the mission and why we exist is to get virtuals here to inspire college student entrepreneurship for good. And we exist to radically expand entrepreneurial education and thinking, to build student confidence, to connect the global community together, and then really empower a new generation, to give them the intellectual capacity, the courage, the confidence, the resiliency, and set them up for success, where they go on to start their own company, whether they join an early stage company, or they bring this entrepreneurial creative spirit to whatever endeavor that leads them on their journey in life. Now, 40% of all Generation Z college students want to learn about entrepreneurship. What I've learned through my journey and speaking with colleges, unfortunately, the great majority of entrepreneurship programs at colleges and universities around the world are woefully behind the need. They aren't designed and set up to help students excel in this area. And many of you heard me talk about entrepreneurship. I believe it should be taught right along with math and science and history and geography. It's a main staple. It's all about tapping into this infinite creative capability and power that we have. So what we're really all about at the core of it is to empower a new generation through entrepreneurial learning. And what we're really focusing on is getting a hands-on entrepreneurship experience and internships that are really hard for colleges to put together. Just finding the right instructor, finding the right TAs, the right course curriculum. And then on top of that, they struggle with, how do I help students get some solid, good hands-on working experience? Because that's what employers look for. They look for two things from college students. Did you take initiative in your life? And what kind of experience are you bringing to the table? And unfortunately, most college students aren't afforded that opportunity. So there's a massive gap there that GetVirtual is really designed to fill. we've been so blessed to live here in this amazing community, be so supported by this community, to have the University of California, Santa Cruz, a team of renegade students and an economic development group, people like Doug Erickson, that allowed this program to be born here in Santa Cruz. It was a great experiment. Will this work? We're asking you guys to be guinea pigs here, and the program's just worked in spades. So let me just go over just some quick other aspects of it, and I'm going to turn it over to the students. Doug, next slide, please. So what was the real catalyst for GetVirtual? I've been thinking for quite some time. It's like, how do we really expand entrepreneurial learning at a wide scale level? At virtually any college that wants a world-class entrepreneurial program like Stanford has, how do we make that scalable? How do we make that accessible to any student that wants that? And where the light bulb went off is when the COVID virus hit. It was clear that small businesses were going to be disproportionately impacted by COVID. They don't have access to venture capital money. They don't have access to private equity capital. They live paycheck to paycheck. They live hand to mouth. And their businesses were largely shut down. No revenue coming in. They have rent to pay. They have capital equipment expenses and loans. They have people that they employed that they couldn't be working anymore. It was a devastating impact. And many of them just don't have the resources or the budget or the manpower to help them navigate through COVID, and more importantly, set themselves up for long-term success, which is the world is changing radically. Consumer buying behavior is changing radically, and we're not going to see a pre-COVID type of consumer buying pattern. We're going to see a mixture of both. Yeah, sure, people are going to continue to go into their favorite store or restaurant or clothing boutique, but they're also going to want a much more frictionless, more convenient way to acquire those goods and services. And that's all virtual. So what we're really focused on is how do we help these businesses get themselves set up for long-term success, get them virtual, extend their business online. So Doug, next slide. So with that backdrop, I called up my really good friend, Nada Milkovich, who I've known for quite some time. She's had me speak to many classes at UCSC. I think we're cut from the same cloth. I said, hey, I have this crazy ass idea. Do you think we can make it fly? She called up her provost, connected, and then reached out to the most amazing students, her best students at UCSC, and laid this crazy idea out on them. So we had nothing. It was just started with basic idea. Hey, can we help small businesses? We think we've got some tools and some programs that we could knit together. What do you guys think? And she had the courage and the ability to say, Toby, let's give this a shot. So next slide, Doug. With that, she reached out to not only Yulia and Nikki and Aaron, who you met on here, but Ananya and Smeet and Gideon and Anaga and Stryker, and this, and also Aaron Huang, these students to come forward and to do something they've never done before. Hey, we're going to ask you guys to help work with these small businesses. We're going to have you learn these tools, learn this methodology. Are you guys up for it? Not only are they up for it, they literally stepped up and filled the biggest shoes I've ever seen. None of them ever sort of, called on a business, had project management skills, had deep web expertise or deep e-commerce experience or online marketing capability. And they just basically didn't see problems, they saw opportunities. And that was the magic of how we got this program kicked off. In addition to that, next slide, Doug, we also are joined by two amazing mentors, John Linney and Peter Knott. Unfortunately, that's not the right picture. Peter, if you're online here, sorry about that. We got a mix up on the photo. But we're opening up the program to any and all mentors that want to join. We'll explain how you can interface in with the program if you'd like. And next slide, Doug, please. And I would be remiss at also not pointing out this amazing community and these organizations that came together to make this program possible. UC Santa Cruz, the entire university with Provost Manel and Nada, the students I've introduced, reaching out to Bonnie Lipsicombe at the Economic Development Group here in Santa Cruz, Robert Singleton, who heads up the Santa Cruz County Business Council, Santa Cruz Works, and Brad Barbeau at CSU Monterey Bay. It was this group that believed and saw opportunity as vision that helped us get this program off the ground. So I tip my cap to you all. Thank you very much for your support in us, and we're just getting started. Next slide, please. So let me just sort of tee up very quickly for the students, but I'm gonna turn it over to them in a second, of how this program works. So what we have created, GetVirtual, is a learning platform where we've created a methodology and a set of tools. And the way we've aimed at is focusing on small local businesses. How do we help extend their business online? The program that the students built from nothing, we are right now in the midst of scaling this up to any college that wants it. There's no cost in it. It's absolutely free of charge. So we're having some great success there. As I said, we're just getting started. So colleges basically create a chapter, a GetVirtual chapter. Students can join that. They get college credit for enrolling in the program, and they go through the most amazing entrepreneurial, hands-on entrepreneurial program for good. What we also do is we partner with local economic development groups that are working with small businesses that are struggling, that they need help. Have to figure out how do we get their revenue going again? Because even though we've moved out of the shelter-in-place ordinance, the virus is still there. It's still raging. Many people want to, focus themselves on social distancing and not having to venture out if they don't have to. That puts even a greater need on helping these businesses extend online because they're so important to our community. They employ lots of people. They're unique. Just think about your favorite bookstore, your favorite clothing shop, your favorite yoga studio. That's not a franchise operation. It's not run by Amazon or Walmart or some big corporation. These are people like you. These are people in our community that care about our community. They're also very philanthropic. They continue to give. I just saw Doug's program of Togo's operation that is giving massive amounts of sandwiches to frontline workers that are fighting this fire. So without these small businesses, I think life as we know it, the unbelievable communities that we have will fall backwards. And we've got to keep that dream alive. So we work with colleges, we give them the entire program, and then we partner with local economic development groups so they can put the word out to small businesses, and then small businesses find out about, largely through economic development group partnerships, they sign up, they begin engaging directly with students. So that's the high level model. I think that was my last slide. Doug, give me one more. Let me just make sure here. So with that, let me turn it over to the students and take it from here, folks. You guys did all the hard work.
Is my camera? So my name, as I said, my name's Aaron, and I'll be walking through kind of the GetVirtual process. And, when we were designing this process, we were thinking, how can we get stuff done? How can we talk to these businesses, get a sense of their problems, and then really, really execute on action plans that are really going to be, providing, immense value, integrating new technology into their businesses, and really bringing these small businesses into the 21st century. Next slide. So it begins with the sign-up form, which is on the GetVirtual website, where we just collect some basic
I think we lost Aaron's signal.
the intake interview. Yeah, what was that?
You're back, Aaron.
Next slide.
We lost you for a second. Just do the slide again, I think. We lost you during that.
Okay, well, we get the business's information through the sign-up form, and then we schedule an intake interview. So during the intake interview, we're getting more information from the business owner. We're establishing a relationship. Kill the video, okay. We're establishing a relationship with the business owner, and we're making sure that this is a community-run business. We're making sure that this is a business that really provides value to the community, and that what they want is something that we offer and can really execute on and have the skills to actually perform. Next slide. And after this intake interview, we go back to the team and we decide to either accept, waitlist, or reject the business. And if we accept the business, we move on to the diagnostic interview, which is about getting this really deep understanding of the business so that when we're making the project proposal, we are really confident that we know what this business is, we know who the owner is, we know what this business is about, and we can really create a project proposal that's tailored to the business, to the business's brand and values and things like that. So we have a few sections, kind of the background, how does the owner approach their business, what is their skill set, what do they bring, what value are they providing their customers. And then we also have questions about owner perception, which we think is pretty critical, not just, not just what is the business, but how does the owner perceive their business? How does the owner understand the situation that they're in? And that really helps us create the project proposal, because we can tailor our action plan to how the owner understands their business. And we also talk about their targeted customer, who is the owner going after? Who do they enjoy doing business with? And finally, we have a section on the future direction. What are the owner's hopes and dreams for their business? Next slide. So moving on, getting the project proposal. So we'll do the diagnostic interview, do more research as necessary. And then for the project proposal, we define the problem or problems in terms of the client's mental schema. So how, like I was talking about before, how does the client actually understand their business? Do they think that they're getting pushed out by Amazon or Walmart or a larger corporation? Do they need a new business model? And we can really target our action plan to, okay, how do you understand the problem? And that really creates a strong relationship between the GetVirtual team and the client, because they really feel like GetVirtual understands their business. We propose an action plan, and these action plans have SMART goals, which is an acronym that I'm sure many people are familiar with. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And we propose goals like this so that we can actually drill down and execute and actually provide value to our clients. Next slide. The most important part of project management is executing, and that's why we have it underlined, one word, right in the middle of the slide. And that's because it's really good to be thinking about ideas. It's really good to be thinking about what can help a business, but ultimately the way that those ideas actually provide our clients. On problems come up, obstacles come up, but in the end, it's all about executing, dealing with those obstacles, adapting as necessary, and doing whatever it takes to help small businesses through these incredibly tough times. And
Yulia or Nikki, do you want to fill in when it seems like Aaron's on his cell phone, which may not be the best?
Aaron, we are losing you. Do you think there's any way for you to get better connection?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I'm having work done on the house, so it's super noisy. Is this better?
It seems to be good. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Next slide. Or did everyone get the execute slide? It's pretty simple.
I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay. So then here are some of the business solutions that we offer to our clients. So we have website audits, updating their visual aesthetics, their SEO usability, things like that. We also integrate new web features, new ways for the business's customers to interact with the business digitally. So that could be scheduler, making the business more mobile friendly. And then we also have social media and general marketing help. So, social media strategy, marketing strategy, and, tailoring that to the brands and values of the business and its owner. And then we also have business owner education, helping the owner, once we're gone, making sure that the owner has the skills, has the resources necessary to keep doing the stuff that we recommended, and set them up for long-term success. Next slide. So as of August 1st, 120 local small businesses have applied to the GetVirtual program, and we look forward to having many, many more throughout the country. Next slide.
Hi, my name is Yulia Monastirska, and let's talk about some of the examples of businesses that we've worked with. So Pacific Trading Company is a women boutique store located in downtown Santa Cruz and Capitola. So when we began the project with Pacific Trading Company, it became clear that the main concern for Rama Zoe and Anandi, who are the co-owners of the store along with their mom, Carolyn Heinrich, was the lack of foot traffic due to social distancing and stay-at-home orders. Since people were no longer attending their store, Anandi and Ramazoe saw the need to expand their services online and needed help getting started with that project. This was how their website looked like when we began our project together. So our first proposal was to expand the shopping experience online via an e-commerce store. That way, Ramazoe and Anandi would be able to upload their clothing inventory and start selling their clothing virtually. However, Anandi and Ramazoe have built their business on high quality of customer service, and they felt that an e-commerce would take away from their business values of keeping the customer experience friendly and personable. Thus, together we had to think creatively, and eventually we came up with the idea of virtual shopping appointments. Through the use of Squarespace Scheduler, I was able to set up a calendar with available hours for shopping. Together, we created a customer questionnaire, which consisted of various questions such as, what size pants do you wear? What is your favorite wash of jeans? What kind of jewelry are you looking for? Etc., getting more and more detailed and specific. Lastly, I set up an email notification system that would send a message to customers when they signed up for the appointment, a reminder 24 hours before the appointment, and a follow-up survey of how the virtual appointment experience went. Next slide. Next slide, please. Awesome. So now customers are able to sign up for Zoom, FaceTime, phone call, and Google Hangout appointments. They then fill out the questionnaire and attend a personalized shopping experience. Ramazoe and Anandi personally review the questionnaires and handpick each piece of clothing for the customers, keeping in touch with their high customer quality values. During the meetings, Anandi or Ramazoe are able to display the clothing items which the customer can choose from and buy. Via curbside pickup, customers are able to obtain the clothing items that they bought. In the case that a customer wants to return an item of clothing, they may do so via curbside drop-off. These are a couple of screenshots of how the website looks like now, and the most important one being the virtual appointment scheduler in the bottom right corner. Since the launching of our project together, using the tools that we gave them, Ramazoe and Anandi were able to further expand their business. They have added more content to the website, and most importantly, they were able to expand the types of appointments that they provide. Now, customers are also able to sign up for in-person shopping appointments, following the same system as described previously, but instead of joining a virtual call, they can come in directly to the store. Next slide, please. So in Ramazoe and Anandi's words, we started working with GetVirtual when we had been closed due to COVID-19 for just a few weeks. It was becoming clear that we were facing the largest challenge to our 35-year-old family business yet. The more time that passed, the more we were realizing how much we were losing and that the economy would be changed in a major way for some time. It was time to get creative. We worked with the GetVirtual team to revamp our website and create an online scheduler for virtual appointments. The team at GetVirtual showed sincere interest and commitment to helping our business survive. They worked to understand our business and who we are so that they could propose and execute work that was relevant to us and consistent with our brand. They brought forward great ideas and also listened and adapted to our concerns. They worked swiftly to produce the project, and we ended up with a great tool to help us through this time. We are so grateful for their support and their work. I am very happy that we were able to provide these services for Pacific Trading Company and allow them to get back on their feet during and through the COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide, please.
All right, thank you, Yulia. My name is Nikila Cherukutota, and this on our slide right here is our friend Jeff Kaplan. He applied for his business Common Language Nature, and he's this super passionate birder who's really invested in education, and specifically the importance of kind of educating people and respectfully coexisting with birds and trying to understand what they're communicating. So Jeff here came to us with the need of learning how to host Zoom seminars, graphic design needs, and a little bit of basic video editing. And I'd like to mention here that Jeff is no stranger to engaging with large crowds. He spent 30 years as an elementary school teacher before Common Language Nature, and then he spent a considerable amount of time working with anti-bullying campaigns. And this is all to say that he's very comfortable presenting, he's very comfortable with demonstrations, but this was all, of course, live and in person before the pandemic had hit. So he was a little apprehensive of moving his presentations online via Zoom. So this is where GetVirtual swooped in. Yulia and myself, we really kind of helped him navigate around Zoom webinars, seminars, and served as a test audience as we helped Jeff figure out technical adjustments like playing audio files on Zoom, as well as the resolution of his images and how they were displayed across his presentation. We also helped him figure out some of the aesthetics. You know, everyone wants to look good on Zoom. So we kind of helped him figure out his lighting and virtual backgrounds and just navigating around Zoom in general. And of course, after he had these live classes, he provided his students with homework. Next slide, please. So this is a little graphic that Yuli and I put together using Canva. The bird images you see on this graphic was provided to us by Jeff, as well as the written content you see. So we kind of looked at his website, tried to understand his vision of his business in terms of aesthetics, what kind of colors he had, and tried to incorporate all of that into this graphic, just to give his audience some content to work with after his classes. Next slide, please. And this was another graphic we provided for him. He provided us with the bird icons. He told us he wanted really bright popping colors. And we just kind of took those notes and provided him with 4 samples. This is one of them. And the next one is on the next slide, please. And this was the second. So we really incorporate the vision of our business owners. We don't push anything on their businesses. We want to make sure that it's their personality that's beaming through all the work that they have available on their website. Next slide, please. And the last thing we provided Jeff with was basic video editing. He had 60 minutes of video content, but needed it to be shortened out to 15 minutes for a grant that he was working on. And Doug, would you be able to actually play a little snippet of this video?
Jeff is an amazing educator. He weaves 30 years of experience as a naturalist, stand-up comic, and a teacher of communication skills to cultivate a common language for connecting more deeply with nature and birds. He leads classes and walks through the California Naturalist Program, San Francisco Bay Bird Observatory, and the Natural History Museum of Santa Cruz. Internationally, Jeff gives workshops and keynotes in Malaysia, in the Galapagos, and the Amazon jungles of Ecuador. He combines storytelling, citizen science, and strengthening observation skills to inspire connection and stewardship among his audiences. So with that, I am going to invite Jeff onto the stream. How's it going, Jeff?
Doing great. Good to see you, Mark. Good to see everybody. I'm broadcasting from station Great Blue Heron here in Santa Cruz County. And so looking forward to sharing some more.
All right, and I'd like to mention that these services that we offer, Jeff, are not necessarily our primary focus. We really focus on kind of web design and social media marketing. But if we really look at the mission of GetVirtual, it's to help small and local businesses adjust to the online landscape. So we really take the time to evaluate these clients, and kind of look at our own skill set and see if we can help them with whatever it is that they need. Next slide, please. And this is a pretty sweet and long testimonial that Jeff provided us with. I won't make you read it, but he's essentially appreciating our management support and help that we provided him in terms of his graphic design, serving as an audience, and the video editing content. Next slide, please. So that was our two main case studies we have, and now I'd like to discuss kind of how we started and what we look like going forward in terms of expanding to other universities. So to give everyone a little timeline of what we have done so far, in April of this year, peak COVID-19 lockdown orders, shelter-in-place orders, UCSC students like myself, Aaron, and Yulia, we began taking a course dedicated specifically to GetVirtual, where we kind of learned about the basics of project management, interacting with clients, and we had the fantastic opportunity to learn from mentors who provided us with guest lectures. And with the summer quarter that started towards the end of June, there was another batch of students at UCSC, and through that course, students had the option of participating in GetVirtual projects. And in July, we expanded into Monterey. I had TA'd an entrepreneurship course at CSU Monterey Bay, taught by Brad Barbeau, and students were able to hop on GetVirtual projects as interested them. And we actually had two of them opt to stay on long-term with us. Brad also recruited a CSUMB chapter co-founder, Kenneth Olson, who then put the word out, and he also onboarded two volunteers, another one who is staying long-term. And looking forward in terms of CSUMB, students have quite a few options on how they'd like to go about working with GetVirtual. The first way is through like an independent study course. You know, they kind of do an internship and gain academic credit for their work with GetVirtual. And the second option would be through this thing that they have down there called a Service Learning Center, which asks for a community service of 30 hours per semester. And that's actually a requirement for the undergrads in order to graduate. And that really ties in with our vision with students contributing to their community. And the third option they have is simply volunteering without receiving credit or meeting a graduation requirement, just to kind of hone in on their project management, entrepreneurial skills. And our CSUMB chapter is pretty much a mirror image of what we're looking for in terms of how we expand into other universities. The students down there have transitioned rapidly into project managers and now are managing clients of their own local to Monterey. And we're hoping to implement this in other universities moving forward. And as for other schools this fall, we have Santa Clara University, San Jose State University, UCSC, CSUMB, all offering GetVirtual as a way of receiving academic credit. Next slide, please.
Awesome, thank you, Nikki. So small businesses lack the training and support needed to use virtual tools in the long term, and we want to empower and familiarize all small businesses with tools so that they are comfortable taking the driver's seat towards their digital goals. We want to keep local businesses running and keep the households that financially depend on these businesses running as well. So a partnership with students and universities allows for young adults to acquire incredibly useful skills of working with real businesses that are facing real challenges. Thus, our main goals are to provide our clients with educational resources and tutorials to help them retain control over their websites as we transition out of COVID-19 guidelines, while putting students into the driver's seat of using their knowledge of the virtual world. Since GetVirtual has been rooted in the time of social distancing guidelines, we are currently trying to expand into the long-term efforts. And here's how you can help us meet our goal. So through the submission of an entry to ZHacks, you can submit a solution to the following questions. Maybe you know of a best way for GetVirtual to expand to new colleges and start new student chapters. Any way to connect with students and gain their support would be within this criteria. Or maybe a best way for GetVirtual to expand economic development group partnerships. Economic development groups are the connection between students and businesses. Or maybe you know a best way to take GetVirtual to the next level. Maybe you know of a service that GetVirtual is currently not providing, but would be completely within the realm of GetVirtual to provide. We would love to hear your ideas. And anything else that you can think of, anything outside of the box, anything very creative, just to help turbocharge GetVirtual. So we are super excited to see all of these submissions, and we wish all of you the best of luck. And thank you so much for listening. Let's tackle any questions that you might have.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Really great presentation, very thorough. We do have a couple questions, and if anybody else, any of the participants has a question, please put it in the Q&A. So here's the first question to all the panelists. What do you see as the biggest challenge for small businesses / Main Street businesses are facing due to COVID-19? What have you noticed?
I would say that the biggest challenge is, so before COVID, or I would say even during COVID, like the strength of small businesses, a lot of our clients has been this kind of personal interaction and that kind of customer service. And so COVID has really been impacting that. You know, you don't go to Amazon and, you know, talk to Jeff Bezos about if you should get this or that. But when you go to a small business, a lot of the value they provide is, you know, we had one client who's like an interior decorator, and like, you know, they have a store that sells, you know, home goods, and, you know, a lot of the value of the store is going in, you know, looking over the home goods and being like, you know, does this look good with this? What do you recommend? So I'd say that you know, COVID is one of the main reasons that COVID is disproportionately impacting small businesses is because it really deeply impacts their ability to interact with their customers and provide the level of customer service that their customers love them for.
Great, thank you, Aaron. Okay, I have a question here for Toby. Let's get ready here, Toby. What do you see as the difference about this Generation Z, compared to previous generations? Any insights on that?
Yeah, so let's see here. I'll just start with my generation, which sort of came up through the 80s. I grew up on the East Coast, and it was all Wolf of Wall Street, man. Like, hey, how much money can you make? Can you work 100 hours a week, burn yourself out? How many homes can you acquire? How many cars and vacations? And it was all just a really material orientation. Not everybody, I'm speaking in very broad strokes. And I think prior generations have been evolving, and I think a lot of us are much more kind of what I call awakened and connected to what life is really all about, which to me, I just think boils down to, you know, our life's we have a short lifespan, a beginning, a middle, and an end. No one knows when that will be. And I think that you want to look back and ask yourself, like, what contributions did you make? Did you give more than you take? And I think the real critical way to measure that is, you know, are you helping to create more opportunities for future generations to come? And going back and looking how ancient tribes worked, that's what worked for, you know, tens of thousands of years. They worked together as a community. You know, the younger folks that had the resiliency and the youth were, you know, contributing a lot. And then when the older folks got to the time when they needed to retire, they could rely on a community and a tribe to support them. And with Generation Z, I've talked about this before, but a watershed moment for me was 3 years ago when the Parkland shooting occurred in Florida. And I tuned into CNN. And when I heard 16, 17-year-old high school students that were articulating a gun policy on campuses that far superseded anything any Florida congressman could articulate, anything that could be articulated at the federal House of Representatives or Senate level. And that was a head scratcher moment for me. And like this, I think part of it is, you know, the mind of humanity exists on the palm of your hand with your mobile computing device. You have access to the most unparalleled information and knowledge and wisdom. This generation has taken advantage of that. And, you know, I don't know, maybe it's parenting, maybe it's culture, but they have a very different point of view, this Generation Z, on the types of people they want to become, the kind of character that they're building. And they are very, as I said in the opening statement, just very altruistic in that, you know, my students at Stanford, if I said, hey, how many of you want a job, go work at Uber or Facebook? You couldn't pay them enough money to work there because the values of those businesses don't associate with them. There are products that they won't buy that they feel are bad for humanity. They're either bad for your body, they exploit human labor, they exploit our natural resources, and they don't buy those types of products. So I'm, you know, so encouraged with this generation. And again, I know many Santa Cruz folks share a lot of this altruistic personality or DNA trait, but this generation in particular, they rise, they've risen to that occasion. And that's where I've tried to focus my energy, which is how do we put more rocket fuel down there? How do we inspire them? Because they have the ability, I think, to tackle some of these very antiquated paradigms and structures that are literally set up to benefit very few. Matter of fact, I was watching an AOC documentary on Netflix last night, and she went up against a very powerful House of Representatives seat, Joe Crowley, who was like the fourth most powerful person in the House of Representatives. And she talked about how he takes in $3 million a year from large corporations. So he's bought and paid for. Is he serving the people? No, he's serving his bank account. And so you may not agree with all of AOC's policies, but that spirit and that energy to basically like, I'm going to overcome these structures, these obstacles, these paradigms, and start focusing on what's right for people versus what's right for my bank account and, you know, rich people. And, you know, one of the other, you know, I think watershed moments was when the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, created the first well-being budget for a country, which was astounding to me. I think 3 countries have now adopted that. Iceland, I think Denmark, and one other company, because unfortunately Wall Street and investment works this way. They care about growth and they care about basically cash flow. That's it. People are disposable. They don't care if you work 100 hours a week. And I talk about, you know, Patagonia all the time, which is a corporation that employees love working there. Consumers love their products. The shareholders have been handsomely rewarded. And they have now donated $90 million to environmental activism that didn't show up on their balance sheet. They don't need to grease their pockets anymore. Like you can actually walk and chew gum at the same time. So that was, I think, that's sort of the big difference is, you know, millennials, I think have sort of moved in that direction, but Generation Z, I just have a warm spot in my heart and just deep belief and not just them. I think anyone that I think has a point of view of how do we make society better for all, not just one person, not just one constituency. That's why our politics are so badly broken, because they're bought and paid for. And but there's great hope looking at how AOC won her House seat and this movement that I'm seeing. I'm super stoked. I don't know why my video's not working, but anyway, Doug, I think I need that new computer.
Great answer. Thank you very much, Toby. Okay, we have a question here from Yasmin. Looking forward, where do you see GetVirtual after the COVID-19 pandemic ends for good? Anyone on the panel can.
Let me take that first, and I'll have the students come in because this is really near and dear to my heart. So right now we're obviously responding to a crisis, a pandemic. But if you think about the opportunity here, all local businesses have been under constant pressure. You know, I talked to Bonnie Lipsico, Robert Singleton, because they just have not had the resources, they haven't had the budget, they haven't had the bandwidth to understand what a modern, thriving 21st century small local business looks like. And they've relied on a model of, you know, trying to find the right retail spot, hanging up a cool sign, relying on foot traffic, maybe print advertising. And many of their websites are brochureware or ghost towns. They're not properly indexed with search engine optimization. And, you know, the world's moving online. And so that's where their customers are, and they're easier to reach. So this problem doesn't go away after COVID. And you'll see if you get to the genesis of really what we're about, it's about teaching entrepreneurial learning for college students with a hands-on approach. And these small businesses there's 33 million small businesses in the US. Small businesses employ 2/3 of all US employees and drive 44% of our GDP. This COVID problem just sort of accentuated the problems that they were having, which is going out of business, you know, getting eaten up by Amazon or Walmart or a franchise operation. So we think small businesses are critical to our communities, the fabric of life. And this program is needed any and everywhere in the world. And once COVID goes away, it doesn't go away, because more consumers are going to expecting a much more frictionless online buying experience. And small businesses have got to, like any business, has to be flexible and adapt. And my goal is that hopefully in 100 years' time, this program's still alive and kicking and inspiring students to learn about entrepreneurship and use that in a way that I think benefits society. So students may have a different point of view, but I think that's the top level message.
Yeah, students, do you have anything more to add to that?
I think Toby said it very well. He put it together very coherently, and I agree totally. I think that the challenges that small businesses are facing currently have just been emphasized by COVID-19. I don't think, some of the challenges have come very directly because of COVID, but a lot of these were going to happen in any scenario, maybe stretched out over a longer term. But I think what we provide will continue to benefit small businesses even after COVID-19 ends.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it is, so right now we're in this equilibrium or disequilibrium that isn't working for small businesses. We're seeing, I think it was 2017 was the first year that more small businesses closed than opened. And so a lot of what GetVirtual is about is not, how can we kind of, if you don't like what they're saying about you, change the conversation. And, how can we, shift, our clients to not just, giving them the resources to, compete online, but, how can we, keep differentiating small businesses so that, they're not subject to this kind of commoditization of products that large companies kind of build their business models on.
And if I can add on to that, we're also equally invested in education, particularly with student entrepreneurs. So we really, as much as we're driven working with small and local businesses, we're equally driven working with students and kind of teaching them project management and entrepreneurial skills.
Great. Thank you very much, students. Okay, so we only have a couple of minutes here. So here's the lightning round. If I can get a quick answer to this long question. Dagmar mentions, I have found that some of the small businesses that would need help with going digital are often run by people with limited digital skills. How do you set them up so they can later manage their new online platforms themselves? I would imagine they would need a significant amount of training. How much of that can you provide?
Let me grab the top line of that really quick, Matthew. So one of the pieces that make this program work is that there's an entirely massive movement in no-code and low-code platforms. It's one of the hottest VC investor areas right now. And we felt that we spent a lot of time looking at no-code platforms that were, one, very powerful, that were easy to use, and that had lots of third-party support and no code. So we largely use Wix and Squarespace. And so what we found is that what we're focused on is we want to teach business owners to fish, in that we want to get you a platform that's modern, that's state-of-the-art, that's very powerful, lots of third-party support so you can extend it and you can use it yourself. So that's been the whole mission and goal. We actually do spend time doing a very thorough handoff, showing them how to use it, how to add content, how to change the site, how to extend the site. And we're not looking to displace people that are doing website development, but we are want to serve that need in the community where get them online with a state-of-the-art platform that's inexpensive and powerful. And what if they want to manage on their own, we set them up to do that.
Yeah, and I will add on to that, if I may. We include the business owners in the entire process of either building or editing their website. So whenever we make any changes, we update them, we have meetings with them, and we show exactly what we've done so that they know throughout the entire process how the changes have been made. And as with the case of Pacific Trading Company, they took it and added a lot more stuff and edited it. So by taking them along with the process, they learn as we do it.
Great, thank you. Okay, one last question that was actually already answered. How can we sign up as a mentor? Susan from TAM Communications asked that question, and Toby gave her his email address. So if you would like to be a mentor, reach out to Toby at getvirtual.org. If anybody else wants to get a hold of you, is a student that wants to get involved, a business that wants help, what is the best way that we could reach you or they could reach you?
Well, the best way, you can literally go to our sign up page, whether you want to be a mentor, whether you're a business owner, or want to connect with us, it's all there. Certainly all of us, it's Toby or Yulia or Nikki or Aaron at getvirtual.org. You can get us. I know we've run out of time, but I want to answer John's question, which is, can't the model extend to students supporting small businesses beyond their virtual presence? So this is a really important question in that so students, what they bring to the table, they're incredibly digitally savvy. They've grown up online. This is a walk in the park for them. Mobile computing is second nature. Understanding social media, this is how they've grown up. So they bring this digital savvy capability to your business. What they don't understand is like how your business operates, who your customers are, how you make money, how you differentiate yourself. And that's where they get the opportunity to learn. What they don't want to do is do menial things. They want to do really important projects that move the needle for you. And we think the most strategic area of that is helping you extend online. Now, that does include a lot of things. They do a tremendous amount of research, business analysis, and planning. But largely, my role at Stanford was I see all these students that get these massive offers to go to like McKinsey. It's a very elite consulting firm. They do work for Fortune 500 businesses, and those students get out of college and they learn. They're crafting new strategies, and they're at the apex of learning after they get out of school. 99.9% of students don't get that opportunity, but GetVirtual gives that to them, because guess what? You small business owners, you're entrepreneurs. You have the same issues that any startup would have. Facebook, Salesforce, Google, which is, you got to have a product or service people want. You got to know who your customers are. You got to solve a real problem. You got to know how to reach those customers. You got to know how to keep those customers happy. You have to expand your customer base. You have to have a gross margin and a profit margin. You got to hire people, train them, and retain them. Those are all attributes that any entrepreneurial endeavor has to have. It's critically thinking. It's thinking creatively. That's what you get to bring. You're an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. So you get to lend your knowledge of that business in partnership with the student. They're coming in at a strategic partnership level with you to both learn and hopefully build something that is extraordinarily valued to you. So hopefully I answered your question.
Yep, very well answered. Well, thank you so much, Yulia, Nikki, Toby, Aaron, whole team. You guys did an amazing job. Now I will turn it back over to Doug.
Thank you so much. Well, this is, we're getting to the end of our program here. I want to mention one more time ZHacks 2020. And for those of you who want a 1-point credit towards your project, you go to http or bit.ly, if you know that, /ZHacks clinics. So if you've attended this clinic or any of our past clinics, you get an extra point here. So thank you very much. And thank you again to all of our sponsors who help contribute to the success of our community and the ongoing challenges that we are facing. Thank you for your support.